Hello, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to this look at candidates for the City Council election of 2019. This year, the election is a mail-in ballot. The Elections Office is going to send ballots out October 16th. So if it's beyond October 16th, you do not have a large envelope in the mailbox from the Missoula County Elections Office, please call them so you can participate in our local democracy. The number is 258-4751, and they're going to let you know how you can participate in this election. Well, I'd like to welcome Amber Sherrill. She's in the studio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time. Amber is a candidate for Ward 4. And Amber, as you know, I invited all the candidates to come here to the old MCAT garage, where it's a little quieter, you see, than those public forums.
Yeah.
So I wanted people to have opportunity just to get to know the candidates on a little more intimate basis, being here in the garage.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
So same question for everyone. Here's your first one. What had inspired you to seek office?
So, most recently I was an interim executive director for Five Valleys Land Trust, and I was asked to step in and run the 2018 Open Space Bond campaign. And, I'd been involved in Five Valleys for many, many years, over a decade. And as I was running that campaign and as I was reaching out to different groups and collaborating with different groups in the city and in the county, it really came to my attention how many competing issues we have right now. And I feel like we're at this time, that kind of a critical time, with population growth, with climate change mitigation, with affordable housing, with really our housing prices not keeping up with our wages. So I just feel like there's so many competing issues, conservation, of course, being a piece of that. And, land is a finite resource. And I think that is a big piece of this as well. So, I've worked in the nonprofit sector. I've volunteered for countless organizations and hours in my life, and I do feel like this is my next level of community service. And so I thought, I should throw my hat in the ring.
All right. Yeah. And so, having made that decision, how did you campaign?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had just run the Open Space Bond campaign, which I think was kind of helpful because I at least understood all the different pieces of a campaign. So, I first went out and so they call it 1,000 cups of coffee. Right. I was a little over-caffeinated, but really had coffee with so many different people in the city. I mean, I was back to back for a while, just saying, what do you think the issues are? What do you think, give me some advice. How do you view this issue or that issue? And so I think that was really helpful in kind of getting me up to speed on the issues and all the different perspectives on the different issues that we're facing. So that's what I did first. Then, of course, I had to do some fundraising, and so I did that. So that was earlier on. And then when we really started door knocking, I have just done, someone told me for bragging rights I should have kept track of how many doors I knocked. I did not do that, but I think I'm at least at 2,000 doors. I mean, I have just been knocking. So that has been, it's been hard when it was hot and when it was raining and when I got stuck in the hailstorm on someone's porch. But I also think that it was so important for me to not just be talking to, the head of NGOs, around the community and people that were in the political realm, but really talking to constituents and saying, what matters to you? And so I think that was a big part of the campaign, but it was also really a big part of what I kept calling a survey of the ward. And so that's just been a piece of it. And then we've done a lot of this, a lot of different interviews. I'm doing one on KGVO tomorrow morning, a second one on KGVO. I did the Downtown Association one, the League of Women Voters Forum, and
Neighborhood Council.
I could keep going. There are a bunch of them. Yeah. And so that's been a big part of it.
And Segue, what have you learned along the way talking to all these folks?
Yeah, so the one I kind of laugh about, people really don't like urban deer. I mean, which I think's been an interesting topic. Some people love them, some people hate them. I do think that, my research in that says that it's something we're going to have to decide what our tolerance level is for them, because it's very, they're not like mule deer like Helena had, although I'm not sure that problem has been solved anyway. They're whitetail. They just move back in, and it's really, if you're going the route of birth control, it's something you do every year, and it's just really expensive. So I think we're going to have to talk about that as a community and how much we can tolerate. I don't think we're over the tipping point yet. Certainly people are worried about snow plowing and about roads, but I would say that really the main complaint is that our property taxes have been going up at an unsustainable rate, especially for those on a fixed income. So while everyone's happy that their property values have been going up, the property tax is going up, especially when you have a fixed income and, when you're a young family with 2 bread earners. And, so I think that that's been a big piece of it, is people are really worried about the property taxes.
What is the biggest challenge you want to help Missoulians overcome?
Yeah, so I think there's a number of them, a lot of which I've just mentioned. Yeah. One of the things I'm really advocating for is a tourist tax, because as I've met with economists and as I've studied some of our tax systems and how those have changed over the years, we have shifted from a resource-based economy to a tourism recreation-based economy. We've had tax funding cuts from the state for mental health, which of course pushes more of the crisis calls onto police, and it really kind of pushes that expense to us. We have a shifting economy in the fact that we now have more tech companies that have a very different tax structure to them. So I have seen estimates of up to 3 million visitors a year that come through Missoula. In our top 5 months, our high season 5-month period, they spend $307 million in this city. Wow. I know, I was kind of shocked by both of those numbers. That they're driving on our roads, they're hiking on our trails, they're using our emergency services. Obviously, all great that tourism, I'm not anti-tourism at all, but I think that we should be taxing them for that. So I'm really advocating for a tourist tax, because I do believe that we have I hear a lot about frivolous spending, but no one seems to really be able to nail down exactly where that is. And I think there's some misinformation out there, kind of comparing apples and oranges, suggesting that, we can cut things that really aren't even in the city budget, things like that. So I really think we have a revenue issue more than we have a frivolous spending issue. So I really want to advocate for that. The other piece of that is, if you look at our tax structure, of your, full pie of our taxes, only 29% of that goes to the city. We have about 36 that goes to school. I might not be exact on these numbers. 23 that goes to the county, and there are a couple of other slivers. So when you're talking about that, 29% that goes to the city. So of a $1,000 tax bill, I know most people are paying a lot more than that, but for every $1,000 that we pay, less than $300 goes to the city. Of that $300, we already have, just to fund police and fire, they're always between 50 to 60%. I think they were 53% last year. So you have over 150 of that 300 that goes to the city that's just going to police and fire. You add roads in there, it's 70% of that 300. There's just so little that we can do anything with. So to make real differences in our tax structure. So that's something I'm absolutely advocating for.
And that's something that has to be undertaken at the state
There
level.
are a couple different ways to do it. So the problem with us just putting it out to the voters right now is that there is a cap on the size of town or year-round residents that can institute this, which is why Whitefish and Yellowstone do it and are just going gangbusters with it. But we're too big. So we can lobby the legislature. I know lots of cities and counties around the state, because this is not a Missoula issue, this is a statewide issue. Roundup went and testified for it, Great Falls went and testified for it. So that we need a new tax structure. So testifying for changes in the tax structure. So anyway, so we can lobby the legislature. The other is a citizen initiative. So that is basically ends up being a big signature campaign. So there are 2 ways to get it on the ballot. None will be immediate, but I think it's more of a long-term fix than trying to cut necessary services that, people want more of, not less of, is what I'm definitely finding at the doors.
Okay.
That was a long answer.
That's a good one. I know we could go longer.
I could go on and on because there are, I'm obviously, climate change mitigation and our zero waste policy. Those are very, I think that we
and there
owe
is a
it.
plan
There
isn't
is a
there?
plan.
The zero
Yeah.
by 2050.
Yeah. So there is, and I feel very strongly that we owe that to the next generation to do that. And so, that would be something that I would definitely support. Affordable housing has got to be a piece of that. We can't be a town that our workers are living an hour away, and I think we're getting at that tipping point. And so I'm definitely, as a candidate, looking forward to, we have the affordable housing policy, but in that it's, if you've taken a look at it, there are a lot of policies, but there are probably over 25 either policy changes or code changes that are going to go along with implementing that. So I always think the devil is in the details of everything, and you need to understand what the domino effects of instituting one policy would be, and
The
wait,
ecosystem idea.
Yeah, exactly. They're all intertwined, and so I'm really interested in taking a look at those policies and reaching out again to other organizations and seeing if they see any negative downstream effects, and getting some of those implemented, because we need to deal with our affordable housing issue, or we're gonna tip too far toward where Bozeman is.
Next are,
okay.
What are some of the great opportunities City Council can help realize, which sounds kind of like the same thing, towards affordable housing, climate change mitigation.
Yeah, so definitely I think that that we're on the right track with those. Again, we need to look at what the next step is and what the policies actually say. I know that Aaron Payan of the housing group, it was did a really thorough research with her group in coming up with this policy. So I'm excited that we have her to help lead us through this. And I know that, for the Housing Trust Fund, for example, that has been something that's been successful around the country. We need to figure out how we fund that, right? I mean, there are lots of different options. So I think that's one piece. And then the zero waste policy, I'm really excited about that, and working with Home Resources. They keep, I can't remember what the exact number was, but like 700 and something, I might have this number wrong, million, tons and tons of, not million tons, but 760, so anyway, tons of garbage out of the landfill just by the work that they're doing, because a big piece of our waste is in deconstruction of, materials.
Yeah. And now you're already up to closing remarks of your
It's going so fast, I feel like I'm talking so much. But, I think that as a candidate, I am a very collaborative person. I think that is one of my strengths. I think that before I make decisions, I am very good at figuring out who I need to talk to and who can help me, because no one is an expert on everything. And so I feel very strongly that it's important that we include more voices than our own. I'm not running with an agenda. I am running with a value system and a skill set that I think will aid in making good financial decisions, planning for growth in the future, and really thinking about what Missoula looks like for the people that are living here now, but also for that next generation of Missoulians, because I think we need to be thinking beyond a quick fix for tomorrow. We need to be thinking about what it's going to look like in 5 years, what it's going to look like in 10 years. Correct. So I think I'm a good candidate for those reasons. And I've had lots of leadership experience in my life, and I think that looking in my work with Five Valleys Land Trust, managing a budget, a nonprofit budget, is a different beast, because you have to be doing what you've said you're going to do. You have to be fulfilling those promises to your donors, or and to your grantors, because otherwise they don't donate to you, and they don't give you grants the next year. And so I think that experience, and knowing that you really need to run a tight but a strategic budget, is a piece that I feel like I could bring to City Council.
Excellent. Amber, thank you so
Yeah,
much
thanks.
for
I
taking
really
the time.
enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed getting to know you. Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewer, for taking the time to learn a little bit about the Missoula City Council races of 2019. Amber Sherrill is just with us. She's a candidate for Ward 4. This election is going to be a mail-in ballot. The ballots are being sent out on October 16th. So it'll be several days beyond that. If you do not see a ballot in your mailbox, please get a hold of Missoula County Elections Office. They're facilitating the city election. The number is 258-4751. Well, for MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. Thanks for watching.